Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND. Today I'm answering questions about OCD recovery, specifically relationship OCD questions that you asked on Instagram. So the first question is, when I gain confidence, the thoughts feel even more real and makes me feel even worse. It's like I wanted that much more. So with that, your relationship is really important to you. So the more important it is, the more you want to feel better, the more you start to panic that you're not feeling better. And when your brain sees that you're panicking, that's when the thoughts start to come in more. Because again, going back to how the brain works, right? It's looking at it that if you're reacting with something with fear, that means that you are in danger. And that means you need to be protected from that danger. And the only way the brain can protect you from that danger is by sending you more thoughts on the same theme. That part of the brain does not actually understand the content of the thought. It's reactionary. It's reacting to what you are doing. If you are sending fear, it's going to say, okay, it's scary. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It's a relationship or it's a red balloon. It doesn't really matter how silly the thought is. It doesn't understand the thought. So something's important to you. You're reacting with fear. Okay, I'll send you the same fear. It's just bouncing back at you what you're worried about. So that's why OCD always sticks to things people, situations that are important to the person suffering, because if it's not important to you, why would you worry about it, right? You wouldn't develop OCD. But if it's something that, for example, like harm OCD, if a person, is very like moral and really tries to do the right thing all the time, they're very likely to get harm OCD. They're a very gentle soul, right? They're likely to get harm OCD. If your relationship is very important to you, you're likely to develop relationship OCD. Just what gets to each person the most kind of idea. So that's why I try not to chase the feeling of relief and just look at it that, okay, this is how I feel right now because I have relationship OCD. This is why I'm feeling this way. It doesn't really matter. Step over it. Disregard and try to behave as if this is not happening. I know you will feel like you're faking it. Everybody feels like they're faking it. It's fine. This is how we reprogram the brain to not react to this with fear anymore. So that's completely normal. This is how it's going to go. I promise you, if you do this, it will get better. But you do have to do this. So whatever thoughts you're getting that have to do with your relationship, you're just disregarding. But from that position, right? It has to do with the relationship. I'm choosing to move forward. So you're not analyzing, well, is this different than the last thought I had about the relationship? No, you're not doing any of that. You're just saying, it has to do with the relationship. I'm moving forward. I'm done with it. So, and then the second part of the question, why does ROCD hurt so much? It came out of nowhere. My relationship was going perfect. Then ROCD hit me so hard and I was terrified. And this is how OCD goes, is it comes out of nowhere. The person doesn't know what to think, and they start to react with fear because it comes in with fear, and then it kind of develops, into more and more, right? So that's normal. That's classic OCD. And maybe that's why it was because everything was going so good. Maybe a thought came in of what if something can ruin it or something like that. I don't know the topic, so I'm kind of just assuming. But something like this came in, and then you reacted with fear, and then it just went on and on, So it's now we're reversing that. So whenever these thoughts come in, you're choosing not to react with fear. You're choosing not to give in over and over and over again. At first, your brain is going to try to send you even more thoughts to try to get you back into a reaction. You're not buying into it. You're just saying, whatever, I don't care. And then eventually it will stop. I promise you, if you do this, it will stop, but you have to do this. And very strong. Even if your thoughts are coming in every moment of every day, then every moment of every day you have to disregard. It won't be like this forever, but for now, that's what it's going to be, Next question is, what kind of ERP can I do for this topic? So exposure OCD or exposures for relationship OCD would be spending time with your significant other. So not avoiding them. That's a big one. Not avoiding specific situations, like not avoiding specific topics of conversation, not avoiding anything. I find that generally with relationship OCD, there's quite a bit of avoidance. Also, there might be some, this is not for all people, right? 'Cause this kind of depends on, case by case situation, but I'm just kind of going over everything because obviously this is, just questions, right? So I don't know the people personally. So I'm kind of just throwing all at you, but sometimes there's magical thinking and there's compulsions attached to it, like my significant other won't leave me, for example, if I do this, this, and this. You know what I mean? So the person is like doing random compulsions and kind of having the magical thinking approach that if I don't do this amount of times, then this will happen, those kinds of things. So again, choosing not to do it, choosing to take the chance, because it will feel like you're taking a chance. If you're not solving something, you're taking a chance. If you're not following what OCD is telling you, you're taking a chance. So you want to say like, yeah, I'm taking a chance. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done with it. So do your worst. I'm done with it. And then you can see that there's actually nothing behind that. Nothing actually happens. So, and that'll make it easier for next time, and just keep up doing the exposures until it's done. Another thing could be if you're having certain thoughts, right? Not being afraid to, like, not running away from your thoughts in the, like, just, like, I don't know, certain situations, not avoiding thinking about certain topics. Sometimes also with a relationship OCD, there's a false memory aspect, which is like cheating OCD. What if I cheated and forgot? Or what if the other person cheated? Things like that, and kind of creating a storyline out of it, like a false memory OCD. So there's that as well. So not buying into that if that's what's coming up for you. So, and anything to do with the thoughts, like a PRO type of OCD more so, the thought itself is the exposure. How do you react to that thought? Are you going to react with a lot of fear and make the situation worse? Or are you going to say, no, I've had this for now a long, long time, or maybe not that long, but I've had it for a certain amount of time. I'm done. I'm not doing this for decades, because, with OCD, if you don't start to do the work, it won't just go away by itself. It might morph from one topic to another, but it won't go away. So your anxiety will not decrease generally. I mean, I'm sure maybe there's some cases, but generally that's not the case, So, you have to handle it, you have to get rid of it. So anything to do with thought process, it's a PRO. So the thought itself is the exposure, and you need to prevent the response of fear, prevent the response of rumination, analyzing, asking, confessing, trying to figure out all of those. It has to be off limits. If you can't make any of these things completely off limits, if it's mentally just too much for you, too draining for you, then I find it helps to say, okay, I'm gonna look into this. If this still bothers me after a week or after 2 weeks, if this still bothers me, I'll ask for reassurance or whatever. Until then, I'm not doing it. And really sticking to that. And most of the time, you won't remember it by that time, Somebody wrote, sometimes I'm not sure if this is a real type of OCD. This is a real type of OCD. I have a lot of clients with relationship OCD. Believe me, this is a real type of OCD. In terms of, somebody asked about intimacy, again, it's the same thing, not avoiding it. You know what I mean? Not avoiding anything. How is it possible? Sometimes I'm so in love and sometimes I'm repelled by my partner, because when he repels me, I feel it is so real. Again, the classic line from OCD, and this means like any OCD, is it feels so real. In all the years of talking to clients, I've never had one person say, you know what, Ali? It doesn't feel real at all. Well, when they're recovering, yes, but that's not how they come in. After, that's how they come out, but that's not how they come in, So for everybody, it feels very real, So when that thought comes in that you feel repelled, you just have to say, whatever, OCD, don't care. I guess he repels me all the time. Yeah, he repels me. So you're instead of running away and kind of trying to defend yourself with this thought, like, no, he doesn't repel me. Like, don't do that. That's a position of fear. You want to say, oh yeah, he repels me all the time. The worst. The worst person on planet Earth. Yeah, my partner. Just really kind of taking it to the next level and refusing to react with fear. Like, you see how I'm talking? I'm not talking with fear. That's how you need to be all the time. Next question is, what if OCD gives you opinions about other people or the opposite? Can you give an example of ERP? So whatever OCD tells you, you're not buying. So if OCD tells you opinion on other people, that's just your brain just came up with something to try to scare you. So you're like, okay, nice try, brain, not doing it anymore, and just really treating it like that. Not, again, that part of the brain cannot give you any new information because it's not understanding the content of the thought. So it can't tell you something that you don't already know. It's just gonna try to come up with, oh, what about this, what about that? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just coming up with different like combinations of the same, like if you had a same number, it's just trying to kind of mix it around and come up with the different combinations of it. That's all. In terms of if you're single and want to work on it before you get into a new relationship, so again, if you're getting into a new relationship, you want to get into it because you actually want that, not because OCD is scaring you with something, right? So you're doing it because that is what you want, in the way that you want to get into a relationship, right? So whatever fears OCD is telling you, about getting into a new relationship, you should completely disregard them. Why does my ROCD, this relationship OCD, cause false memories where I believe I've cheated on my boyfriend? That's actually very, very common type of OCD. Like I said, I've mentioned it before, like common compulsion with relationship OCD, obsession. So just disregarding, not trying to go back, don't try to piece the event together, figure out did you not, don't confess just in case, don't do any of that, because those things really make OCD worse. So you have to make sure not to do that. I mean, again, with this kind of thing, delaying works. So I'm not gonna confess anything for 2 weeks. If after 2 weeks it's still bothering me, then I'll confess it, or then I'll try to figure it out or whatever. So by delaying it, most likely in 2 weeks you won't even remember it. Why am I so obsessed with knowing what his exes look like and that I need to know that I'm the best looking? Okay, so don't check social media, don't go on social media, don't analyze, don't Google that, like none of these things, because that's just, you're just keeping the problem going when you're doing that. It's clearly when you're doing this kind of stuff and you have high anxiety, or you feel urgency, that's OCD. That's an OCD compulsion. I'm also obsessed with the thought that he's with me because I look like a next, act like a next. Uh, it's never cause he just wants to be with, he just wants me. And I ask him over and over in a million different ways and still plagued by these thoughts. The problem is that you're asking. You have to choose not to ask, because that is actually what's causing the problem, because you'll never get that satisfaction of, okay, now I can move on. You'll always feel like you need more reassurance, and that reassurance sends the message. When you're getting reassurance, you're never getting reassurance from a position of power. You're getting reassurance from a position of fear, showing your brain that you are afraid. The more you are afraid, the brain's like, okay, don't worry. If you're afraid, I'll send you more of these thoughts, and then you'll get more of these thoughts, you'll get more worked up, you're going to have to, ask more, and it's kind of those things. So you have a choice. Are you going to ask or are you not going to ask? Are you going to ruminate or are you not going to ruminate? And when you make the choice not to, you're not going to feel good in the moment, because obviously it feels good to ask for reassurance. But it's either you're going to kind of chase that good feeling, right, every time, or you're going to just go through it a few times with feeling really bad, but you're actually going to stick through it, do ERP properly, and recover. Next question is question statement, overly judging my thoughts, actions, and intentions. Is this normal with OCD? Yes, it's normal, and a lot of the times, again, another kind of compulsion with relationship OCD is the person tries to seem perfect in every way because the fear is, what if I'm not perfect? The partner will leave me, you know? So try to do things imperfectly, say things imperfectly, do things in a way that maybe you would like, but maybe the other person might not like so much, but not all the time, right? But kind of, doing something that takes you a little bit out of your comfort zone. Not to make the other person feel bad, but within kind of normal parameters, but just not following what OCD tells you, not doing everything perfectly in any kind of way, What's the best way to explain my OCD to my boyfriend who doesn't know anything about OCD, and how to help me not to do checking rituals like checking the stove? This is not, I don't know if this is really kind of relationship related. It doesn't seem like it is, but what he can do is he can actually help you by saying, like, are you sure you want to do that? You know that you're giving into OCD when you do that. Let's just take a chance and not do it. But again, the responsibility is mostly on you, because the other person, like, they don't really understand OCD. Just from a lot of experience of talking to people, I can tell you that OCD never helps relationships. I know, people, especially people who, like, when they're married, it's like for better or for worse, but I just don't see that in practice. I wish I did. I don't. It hurts relationships, and the other person often can't handle it. They can handle it for a certain period of time, but then they get frustrated, and they can't really help you. Nobody can do exposures for you. So, and they don't have OCD, so they don't understand. So I say, try to bring it up as little as possible, because the brain needs to see that everything is okay. So the less you're talking about OCD, the less you're doing compulsions, really the better, because you're focusing on real life and edging out OCD, So all around, from every direction you look at it, and sometimes, yes, you need support. And also, if you're not talking about it all the time, then the times when you do need support, you will actually get it, because the person is not like, oh, I'm so sick of this, that kind of a thing, that they're actually going to be more inclined to help. And again, I wish it wasn't like this, but just looking at it from practical position of what I see every day in sessions, it really is like that, So this is just advice based on just what I see, Last question I have, why do the thoughts feel so real? Any OCD thought will feel real. The brain makes it feel real, so you react. Again, it doesn't know what it is. You said it's scary, so it's trying to make it feel super real for you, so you start to react with fear, you start to protect yourself, because it's looking at it like, if it scares you into it, you're going to start to protect yourself, and that's what it wants for you to do. It wants you to protect yourself from danger. It's viewing this as like a life or death situation. It's in fight or flight mode. I hope you find my answers helpful. If you would like to do the recovery program, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. Please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.